Hello, everybody. This is John Paval with Access Arts Live. It's Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. It's 6 o'clock in the evening in Europe, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast. That means it's time for the Access Arts Live weekly organ live stream action roundup, which I am here to deliver to you. We have a lively series of organ recitals this week. We have accomplished and very experienced organist. We have up-and-coming organist. We have young prize winners who are still in school, playing all manner of organs from London to Paris, from Moscow to Tomsk. And I will be happy to lay all out the information for you so that you know whether you want to tune in to any of these live streams. Let me remind you before I go any further, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. And if you're watching this on any of our other platforms, please follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live. We're on YouTube, Facebook, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. We like to be wherever you are, so wherever you tend to hang out, you can easily follow Access Arts Live. And let's get on with the first of this week's live streams, because it will be happening in about 1 hour from now. Tuesday, November 25th, St. James Episcopal Cathedral in Toronto live streams former president of the Royal Canadian College of Organists, Peter Nikiforuk, who's also the emeritus music director of St. Peter's Lutheran Church in Kitchener, Ontario. That'll be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Toronto, which is 7 o'clock where I am here in Stockholm, Sweden, and which will be 10 o'clock in the morning if you're in LA or Seattle or San Francisco, anywhere out there, way out west. We don't know exactly what program he's going to be playing. I can tell you that he has a great interest in 17th and 18th century keyboard music, particularly, we are told, the Stilus Fantasticus, or Fantasticus, and the Italian Partimento tradition. I'm not a musicologist. If you are, then you know what I just told you. This is a guy who, went through Yale, University of Toronto, Royal Academy of Music in London decades and decades ago. He was the director of music at St. Peter's from 1989 until just a couple of years ago. So a lifetime in service at that church. And he has been teaching piano and music theory at the Laurier Academy of Music and Art since 2000. Highly accomplished organ veteran. It's that organ has 87 ranks, 67 speaking stops, over 4 manuals and 6 divisions, 5,101 pipes. The latest rebuild was 50 years ago by L.I. Phelps and Associates. Wednesday, we have 1 or 2 live streams for you as well. The next one we have up for you is a woman organist. Always happy to see more women organists. They are very much in the minority. Wednesday, November 26th, the Temple Church London live streams organist, accompanist, and choral conductor Hannah Perry, who is currently the Kirchenmusikerin at the Staatskirche in Gronau, Westfalen, Deutschland, in Germany. This will be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, European time, 8 in the morning on the East Coast, 5 in the morning on the West Coast, and 11 o'clock in the evening down under in Australia. She leads a double life between Germany and London, studied at the Royal College of Music, and then got her master's at Royal Holloway University, London. She had church music posts at various London churches, most recently the Farm Street Church in Mayfair, but developed, apparently, she tells us, close links with the Temple Church, among others, in England. She's done recitals in places like the Leeds Cathedral, the Nikolaikirche in Berlin, and the Große Kirche in Steinfurt. And she has her first CD that just came out in September, recorded in Gronau on their Sauer organ there, and it just came out in September. It's called Das Lied des Herrn, the Songs of the Lord. It's a Harrison and Harrison organ with 4 manuals and 3 32-feet stops. Originally built for a ballroom up in Scotland. And Marcel Dupré actually came up in 1927 to inaugurate this organ, which was then disassembled in 1950-something and brought to London by rail from up in Scotland, where it was first installed. It's a Harrison and Harrison organ. They took it apart and rebuilt it in their workshops about a decade ago. Also on Wednesday, starting 10 minutes after that recital by Hannah Perry, the binational person, there's another weekly recital being held by this guy, Rudyard Cook. You'll see it says 1:10 p.m. there because it's that's UK time, which nobody else in Europe has except Portugal. Anyway, Wednesday, November 26th, Queen's College, Oxford, live streams Rudyard Cook, who's a senior organ scholar at the choir of Queen's College, and he's playing a program of Buxtehude, Bach, and Brahms. But we don't know exactly what program. Usually, they give the detailed program on their website. They got to it late this week, though. Rudyard is a student there at Oxford University, studying music at the Queen's College, plays regularly with the Egglesfield Music Society. He's also a cellist, principal cellist in the Oxford University Orchestra. He's recently started doing directing with the new chamber opera, and he's just very recently become the musical director of the Oxford Baroque Players. It's a Frobenius organ. I think we're giving you the link to it so you can look up why they're so proud of it. And they believe that when it was built and installed in the 1960s, it set it set an example for the great British organ revival. So much for our 3 weekly organ recitals this week. You may have noticed that a number of weekly organ recitals aren't there anymore because they're dropping off now for the holiday season. So we jump ahead to Friday, when there will not be a live stream for the first time in a long time from St. Paul's Cathedral in San Diego. I guess Canon Martin Green is taking a break. Friday, November 28th, the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow hosts an evening by candlelight. Music on the organ, saxophone, and harp by composers through the years: Bach, Handel, Demersmann, Schubert, Massenet, Pierney, Ravel, De Falla, Gershwin, and even Glenn Miller. This will be a 90-minute concert. These are full-scale concerts at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow that Artbene live streams. It'll be at 8 o'clock in the evening European time, 2 o'clock on the East Coast, 11 in the morning on the West Coast, and 9 o'clock in the evening in Moscow. The organist is Igor Goldenberg, the saxophonist is Yuri Tashtamirov, and the harpist there, have I put up that photo for you? The lovely harpist in the red dress there is Aidana Karasheva. This is not the first time they've worked together. Last December, among other times, they did a Christmas show at the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow with Tashtamirov and Karasheva. And Tashtamirov and Karasheva also were there back in June, but with a different organist. It wasn't Goldenberg that time. Anyway, Goldenberg is an organist and a composer, member of the Union of Composers of Russia, went through the Moscow Conservatory and the Hochschule für Musik in Switzerland, or a Hochschule für Musik. I don't know which one. He has worked with the Tchaikovsky Grand Symphony Orchestra, the Mariinsky Theater Orchestra, the Lausanne Chamber Orchestra, among others. The organ there, it's a Kuhn organ, originally built for a reformed, an evangelical cathedral in Basel, Switzerland, and they donated it to the Moscow Cathedral in 2002. The pipes were transported there, and The music they'll be playing, they'll start out with Bach's Prelude and Fugue in C major, and then they just take off from there. Passacaglia by Handel, some pieces by Schubert, Meditation by Massenet, Leon Bohlmann's Prayer to the Virgin Mary, Gershwin's 3 preludes, which were originally composed for piano, and they were meant to be played for a soprano who was doing a concert, a recital in New York City, and they needed filler in 2 places to give her a break. I've used it as filler in recitals that I sang, actually. And they'll finish up. The grand finale will be a medley of themes from the film Sun Valley Serenade, with the which had the Glenn Miller Orchestra in it. Enjoy. Well, we're not done yet with the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow this weekend, because on Saturday, Artbene is back with another live stream. And this live stream is from one of the top organists in all of Russia, Alexander Fiseisky, along with, let me get the pictures up there for you. There. That's the right order. Alexander Fiseisky and winners of the 6th Roizman organ competition at the Gnesen Institute in Moscow play works of Bach, Mendelssohn, César, Franck, and Louis Vierne. Saturday, November 29th, live stream by Artbene from the Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. That'll be 7 o'clock in the evening, European time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. It's they hold a Gnesen, the Gnesen Institute, which is one of the main music schools in Moscow. For the last 5 or 6 years, they've been holding this Roizman organ competition, and one of the winners in it is the young woman that you see pictured there, Nadezhda Skuratova, and the other one was a young man, Ilya Dedyukin, but I was unable to find a photo of him. But these are fairly young people. I think Ilya Dedyukin is even in the younger classes. Skuratova is a student of Fiseisky, among other things. And as for Fiseisky, he was born in 1950. That makes him like 75 years old. So he's been performing for 50 years, for 5 decades, since he got out of the Moscow Conservatory in 1975, something like that. He's performed all over the world, in more than 30 countries, according to his biography, all over Europe. And he's performed in places like the National Cathedral in Moscow, in Washington, the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, St. Stephen's in Vienna, Westminster Abbey and St. Paul's Cathedral in London. They put all this in his bio on the Moscow Philharmonic website, where he's been a soloist for the last 40 years or so, because of the... Anyway, so that should be a fun concert. We then move on to Sunday. We have 2 more concerts for me to tell you about today. And the next one is with one of my favorites. This guy, he's terrific. He did great, a great performance in Köln a few weeks ago. Sunday, November 30th, resident organist Thomas Ospital takes to the keyboards of the 7,952 pipe organ at St. Eustache Church in the heart of Paris for a live stream recital of the 3 chorales of organist-composer César Franck. That'll be at their usual 5 o'clock time in the afternoon in Paris, 11 o'clock on the East Coast, 8 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, and late at night down under in Australia. Thomas Ospital did a concert appearance with the Cologne Philharmonic a couple of weeks ago, and it was stellar. I mean, he played a Handel organ concerto, and then he played litanies by Jehan Alan, and then he did, on top of that, he did an encore, and the audience just absolutely loved it. He just took the roof off the place. Anyway, this is an interesting piece. There are three pieces to the chorale. There's the chorale in E major, in B minor, and in A minor. In July of 1890, 68-year-old César Franck was in a traffic accident. And it was fairly serious. And in the rest of the summer and the fall, he was composing these three chorales. He died in November, in early November, due to complications from that accident. These three chorales were his last great contribution, considered one of his, among his masterworks. So this, although he likely may not have known it at the time, these were his farewell. And, if I were in Paris, where I spend half my time, all somebody has to say to me is, hey, Thomas Ospital is playing César Franck on Sunday. And I'd say, okay, let's go. You don't need to know any more than that. Check it out. I guarantee you, if you're an organ lover, you'll love it. And if you're not an organ lover, you may end up being an organ lover as a result. Okay, we have two more live streams to tell you about. We're back to Fiseisky for one of them. And I'm just going to tell you about them very briefly because I've already told you all about Alexander Fiseisky. Sunday, November 30th, the Moscow Philharmonic live streams organ music by Johann Sebastian Bach and colleagues to mark the 7th All-Russian Organ Day, played by top Russian organist Alexander Fiseisky. That's on their website. It's at the same time. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon European time, which is the same time as the St. Eustache Church live stream. And that's a tough choice to make unless you're just absolutely in love with Johann Sebastian Bach. And then on Monday, I'm fiddling here with my screen to get the last photo up for you. To wind this up, to get you Dmitry Ushakov up there on screen. Monday, December 1st, the Tomsk Philharmonic's resident organist Dmitry Ushakov plays song-based selections by Bach, Vivaldi, Cherubini, Rimsky-Korsakov, Verdi, and Puccini, arias and songs and such. This will be things like Vivaldi's the Bach Vivaldi Concerto in A minor, Part 1, but it'll be like the Cherubini's Ave Maria, the wedding chorus from Rimsky-Korsakov's The Legend of the Invisible City of Kitez, as transcribed for organ, Verdi's Grand March from the opera Aida, etc. So they're always coming up with interesting ideas of what you can do with an organ there, way out there in Tomsk, Siberia. Folks, that's what we have for you this week. I hope that any of these live streams may uplift you, inspire you, or just show you a heck of a good time. And with that, I will remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching on any of our other platforms, please don't just like the video, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on YouTube, Facebook, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, or LinkedIn. I'll be back in about an hour and 40 minutes with the chamber music live stream update. No, in 40 minutes. Ciao for now.